Hello, namaste. Um, my name is Kath, and today I'd like to share my experience of a time when I had near death and how it changed my life. So, prior to my near death experience, I was able to see everyone's pain. I could see an animal's pain, people's pain. So after the near death, I almost feel like I wanted to be able to see how I can serve in order to take people's pain away. And whilst in Kenya, it was like there was hunger. So when I came out of my near-death experience, my behavior where I was absorbing people's pain before, now I felt like I was being guided to create ways where people are served. So yeah, after the near-death at 8, I saw there was hunger, so I used to give my food to the other children in school, but we know that giving one meal is not going to be enough when there's so many people who are starving. So I felt like I was guided, like, use my bus fares. So I was using my bus fares and walking to school and back, about 5 miles, so 2.5 there, 2.5 back. But with that came a revelation that, oh, these gardens have extra food, and if people are not eating all of it, instead of letting it go waste, why not ask the owners if I can take when there's extra, so that I can share it to the children in school. So I wouldn't be feeding just one child, but their family as well. So I started this, and it was great. So I saw how I was meant to serve, but at home I used to live in my own kind of world, so kind of had made up people that you can kind of get your own advice as well. So when I made friends with a mango tree. I saw her as my mother because I related to her. It's not that my mum didn't love me, it was just that I related to the mango tree more because I was getting my own advice instead of certain resistances and fears my mom was carrying. So in that sense, having a lonely childhood, it can be seen as the world kind of shows it as, oh, you poor thing. But when you look at it, mind and others people's word, how much we take in, has a lot more power to our own resistance and our own limitations. It's unreal because, your mind is a creator. Your mind will make up things to say, oh, if I do this, this person's going to say this. And so there's so many restrictions people are living from. Culturally, our mind is programmed around systems that are based for millions of people to work the same way. Are we sheep? Are we going to carry on knowing that further ahead, when our children are feeling to get a life, they're going to be paying the debts of what's going on right now? Do we continue in this craziness, or do we say, it's time to question? Are we following a structure that is for the well-being of all humans, or is it just a structure that is supporting a feeding kind of a stream to power and wealth. And power and wealth, I mean, as the time goes, things are becoming expensive. There's more and more insurances and all these new technologies that you're paying for. Not only the technologies, I mean, the bizarre thing I find is, we create streams, like say when you post YouTube or when you have a website. I hear, they have this pop-up things. So basically, you are getting you're paying for these pop-up things, and then you have another creation of a business to say, oh, if you don't want to be bugged by these people, we will charge you to take them off. I mean, it's craziness. It's absolute craziness. Where does it stop? I mean, it's going to a stage where, what direction is going to be given to our children? We are directed to go by a societal and all these cultural kind of limitations that we put. And I don't look at that from a place of anger. I look at it from a place of empathy and also understanding how we have got here. With innocence, we created these systems that are just entrapping us from one to another. Anyway, so going back to the chapters of life, so speaking to my mango tree, I got the wisdom. And when I was moving to UK, which was going to be a big move because my English wasn't that great, or if any, I was speaking Swahili, Hindi, so my sentences were consisting of like 4 or 5 different languages. But yeah, it was a part of my innocence that didn't feel shameful because I didn't feel I was doing anything wrong by speaking by all these languages. So I guess it's that innocence that's kept me alive, because I didn't have much social skills of interacting with a lot of people. For me, it was like, okay, this is how this is, but this is how I feel about it. So I was quite naive and innocent when I moved to UK, in the sense like when I was fearful of going to UK, I spoke to the mango tree, and I basically asked like, how am I going to cope in UK? And there was a lot of times, because I would sit there and have my meals on the tree as well, and talk away to chameleons and butterflies. And chameleons always fascinated me, how they change their color and how gentle they are, and yet so vibrant, but fierce as well, because their tongue. So when I was coming to UK, I was like, how am I going to cope? And I almost heard a voice that said, you are fascinated by chameleons and butterflies. Be a chameleon where you adapt with people, but always remain gentle and caring, and but don't let anyone take you for a ride either. In the sense, like, this is something that obviously goes with in the parts that I needed to heal myself as well. So yeah, and she basically said, be like a chameleon, blend with people and fly like a butterfly. And for some reason, coming to UK, those words kind of stayed with me until I felt outcasted in school, and yes, I became that rebellious and pushing my boundaries again, which now I see was great, but also painful for my family. But it shows me that I was one that's not going to just enclose myself in what society has created, but I wanted to be free. So I went along with my societal arranged marriage and everything, but when that wasn't working for me, I'll always give it one go. When it doesn't work, then I have to do it my way. So yeah, after the arranged marriage didn't work, I didn't go back to the family because I didn't want another arranged marriage. So I went on solo with the 1.5-year-old son. So anyway, as I read upon my life, after I left the enclosure of my community designed life, then I flew in my career. I had no education or anything, but something kind of gives me a vision, and I look at the whole picture and see a different view somehow. So it's a gift. We all have different gifts, and mine is basically to have a bigger puzzle. So I succeeded in everything I did. I worked within the welfare industry for 40 years, serving the general public, ex-offenders, ladies who have undergone a lot of trouble in life as well. So unemployment. So having worked 40 years, listening to them and trying to serve them as I came to do in UK.